Liverpool just lost to Paris Saint-Germain 4-0 on aggregate in the Champions League quarterfinals, and now 8 members of the squad are heading for the exit door this summer. The reigning Premier League champions are about to undergo a roster overhaul, the likes of which Anfield has not witnessed in over a decade. So let's break down every player that's departing and what this means for the club going forward. On the 14th of April 2026, Anfield fell hushed. For the second season in a row, Liverpool went head-to-head with Paris Saint-Germain at Anfield and had nothing to show for their efforts. Having exited the FA Cup quarter-final with a whimper, Liverpool exited the Champions League quarter-final with a struggle, the damage inflicted in Paris proving irreversible. Ousmane Dembélé, so wasteful in the opening leg at Parc des Princes, inflicted further punishment with a second goal from Bradley Barcola's second assist in stoppage time. Liverpool fell 0-2 on the night and 0-4 on aggregate, and their season was effectively finished. No Champions League, no FA Cup, a dismal Premier League title defense, nothing. The first leg had already established the tone. Liverpool lost 2-0 to Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg of their Champions League quarterfinal. The match at Parc des Princes was decided in the holders' favor by goals in either half from Désiré Doué and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. Liverpool failed to register a single shot on target. In the second leg at Anfield, Slot tasked the expensively assembled but rarely seen attacking line of Alexander Isak, Hugo Ekitike, and Florian Wirtz, with delivering a goal threat that had been non-existent in Paris. The trio had played together for a combined total of 88 minutes, following their arrivals for a potential £320 million last summer. Then came the injuries and the chaos. Liverpool were badly disrupted when Ekitike was carried off on a stretcher on the half-hour mark after his ankle appeared to give way. Mohamed Salah came on as his replacement to a thunderous reception, but it was too late. Arne Slot revealed that Alexander Isak would only be fit for 45 minutes, despite starting the match, essentially broadcasting his tactical approach to the world. Slot had reportedly told journalists privately that he had been prioritizing the Champions League since January, 3 months of focus, and it concluded like this: a 4-0 aggregate thrashing at the hands of the European champions. Almost immediately after that final whistle, reports began flooding in about the sheer number of players heading out the door. This isn't speculation about 1 or 2, it is 8 players. The most significant of those departures had already been confirmed weeks before the PSG tie. And that brings us to the name that overshadows all others. Mohamed Salah's exit from Liverpool is the headline that defines this summer. The 3-year-old Egyptian star confirmed the news in a video message on social media, calling it the first part of his farewell. The details behind the scenes tell a turbulent story. While he hasn't explicitly stated a reason for his departure, Salah said earlier in the season that his relationship with Liverpool manager Arne Slot was non-existent. It deteriorated further. The fan favorite accused the club of making him a scapegoat for the English champions' poor start to the Premier League season, and claimed he was thrown under the bus following Liverpool's 3-3 draw at Leeds in December. Salah's own words at Elland Road were devastating. "I don't know why, but it seems to me that someone doesn't want me at the club." Think about that. A player who devoted 9 years of his prime to the club, who shattered record after record, openly saying he feels unwelcome. What a legacy he leaves behind. Over his 9 years at Liverpool, which he joined in June 2017 from AS Roma, he scored 255 goals in 455 appearances to become the third highest scorer in the club's history. His 281 goal contributions, 189 goals and 92 assists, are the most for any player at a single club in the league's history. Salah claimed the Premier League Golden Boot, a record equaling 4 times, and collected 3 PFA Player of the Year awards along the way. His trophy cabinet speaks volumes: 2 Premier League titles, a Champions League, an FA Cup, 2 League Cups, the FIFA Club World Cup, the UEFA Super Cup, and a Community Shield. However, the 3-year-old has struggled to replicate last season's exploits, having been directly involved in just 11 league goals, netting 5 times. That decline in form, combined with the strained relationship with Slot, made the split inevitable. Salah will depart on a free transfer despite having 12 months remaining on his contract. Liverpool confirmed the departure on their official website, stating the time to fully honor his legacy would come later in the year when he bids farewell to Anfield. During the PSG second leg, Salah came off the bench following Ekitike's injury. His entrance prompted a rapturous reception. The supporters still adored him, and they always will. But the harsh reality is that he watched the most important European night of the season from the bench, sidelined for the second consecutive game against PSG. That tells you everything about where things stood between him and his manager. Another potential destination for Salah could be Major League Soccer in the United States. Reports in the British press indicated a move to MLS is currently regarded as the most appealing option. Wherever he ends up, Liverpool will feel his absence like an open wound for seasons to come. Just days after Salah confirmed his departure, another pillar of the dressing room followed suit. Liverpool have officially confirmed that Andy Robertson will leave the club at the end of the 2025-26 season. Robertson will exit the club at the end of the campaign, joining Mohamed Salah in announcing his decision before the season concludes. It comes less than a year after he was named vice-captain, having surrendered his spot as first-choice left-back to Milos Kerkez. That detail stings elevated to vice-captain and then rendered surplus to requirements within a single season. The Scotland captain's farewell year at Anfield was spent largely watching from the sidelines, as a younger option claimed his position. Robertson's time at Liverpool reads like the kind of fairy tale football rarely delivers. He joined from Hull City in a deal worth an initial £8 million for a player who went on to claim every major honor in the game at club level. The 32-year-old departs, having won 2 Premier League titles, the Champions League, the FA Cup, 2 Carabao Cups, the Club World Cup, the UEFA Super Cup, and the Community Shield. He is also the second highest assisting defender of all time in the Premier League, having created 60 goals during his decade in the English top flight. He made 373 appearances for the Reds since his arrival in 2017, scoring 13 goals and providing 69 assists across all competitions. That overlapping surge down the left flank, the whipped crosses finding the head of whoever was at the far post, it defined an era of Liverpool football. In his farewell message, Robertson struck a characteristically gracious tone. "It's never easy leaving a club like Liverpool. It has been a huge part of mine and my family's life for the last 9 years." He acknowledged the shifting landscape. "I've had opportunities to leave, and I've not taken them because of how difficult it is to leave this club." But he also accepted the reality. "I know football moves on. I know teams move on, and I think now is the time for me to move on." Where does he go next? Tottenham Hotspur have held a long-standing interest in Robertson and were eager to sign the 32-year-old during the January transfer window. But Liverpool refused to sanction a mid-season exit. According to BBC Sport, Spurs are now fully committed to finalizing the deal, with negotiations already at an advanced stage. The North London club are looking to inject experience and leadership into their squad. However, any potential move will largely depend on whether Spurs can retain their Premier League status. They currently sit 18th in the table, 2 points adrift of safety. The prospect of Andy Robertson, a Champions League winner, playing in the Championship is staggering to contemplate. But that is the state of football in 2026. If losing Salah and Robertson wasn't painful enough, Liverpool's defensive structure is at serious risk of collapse this summer. Start with Ibrahima Konate. The centre-back has entered the final few months of his contract at Merseyside, and his availability is drawing interest from clubs across the continent. The Frenchman has established himself as one of the finest defenders in the English top flight since displacing Joel Matip as first-choice partner for Virgil van Dijk. The saga surrounding his contract renewal has become a daily drama. The Athletic's David Ornstein does not believe talks are progressing, telling NBC Sports that negotiations have reached a standstill. Ornstein stated that Konate will be out of contract this summer and that the situation is at an impasse. There are conflicting signals. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano recently claimed that negotiations between Liverpool and the France international were moving toward the final stages, with the guaranteed salary almost agreed, but specific clauses creating delays. Meanwhile, Manchester City and Chelsea have both opened exploratory discussions with the players' camp. The prospect of losing Konate on a free transfer, a player in his prime at 26, would be a catastrophe of the highest order for Liverpool's defensive line. Then there is Joe Gomez. The 28-year-old situation shifted from uncertain to volatile during the PSG tie itself. Slot's perplexing decisions did not stop there. Substituting Gomez after just 22 minutes on the pitch, despite no visible injury, risked more than just tactical bewilderment. The defender's furious reaction told its own story. At a moment when Liverpool needed composure, the manager chose to humiliate one of his defenders in front of 60,000 people. Tentative reports suggest Gomez could fetch around £25 million should he leave Anfield this summer. Several Premier League sides, including Aston Villa and Bournemouth, have been speculatively linked with a bid for the 28-year-old, who has failed to persuade Slot he merits a place in the starting lineup. A source told Caught Offside, Liverpool are keen to reshape their backline with younger, specialist profiles. Gomez is no longer viewed as indispensable, but rather as a valuable market asset with his contract expiring in 2027. The summer of 2026 is regarded as the last major opportunity for the club to secure a sizable transfer fee. That is, 2 center-backs and a left-back all potentially departing in one window, and Virgil van Dijk, the one defensive constant, turns 35 this summer. Key figures like Alisson and Van Dijk are another year older as the squad appears to be in need of rejuvenation. The defensive regeneration Liverpool require is not a side project. It is an emergency. Beyond the confirmed departures and defensive losses, Liverpool are reportedly preparing to make several more players available for sale in what amounts to a full-scale squad overhaul. Sun Sport reports that Cody Gakpo, Alexis Mac Allister, Federico Chiesa, and Joe Gomez will all be made available for transfer while Andy Robertson is set to exit. Federico Chiesa arrived at Anfield with genuine enthusiasm. The supporters adored him, but his lack of impact means he is surplus to requirements. Persistent fitness concerns and an inability to break into the starting 11 have characterized his time on Merseyside. Chiesa's representatives are already working on a potential return to Italy, and his departure feels like a foregone conclusion at this point, a transfer that simply did not work out. Curtis Jones, the local lad, the academy graduate whom supporters hoped would become a cornerstone of the midfield for years to come, is also in line to leave. Jones has grown into one of the most progressive passers in the Premier League, but given that he has yet to fully establish himself as a first-team regular, partly due to injuries, he could depart in 2026. The midfielder has been connected to Inter Milan and Tottenham in recent transfer windows. Losing a homegrown midfielder of his caliber would be a blow to the identity of the squad. Then there is Cody Gakpo. Reports suggest the club are searching for a buyer for Gakpo, who could be valued at around £40 million. Several clubs are alleged to be interested, including Tottenham Hotspur, if they avoid relegation, and there have even been suggestions that Liverpool have offered him to RB Leipzig, in part exchange for Lenny Yoro, a potential Salah replacement. Gakpo has had his moments at Liverpool, but he has never fully convinced in the role Slot envisioned for him. The Dutch forward has 12 goal contributions and has accumulated close to 3,000 minutes in the ongoing campaign's solid numbers, but not elite. And Liverpool need elite. The most surprising name among the rumored departures is Alexis Mac Allister. The Argentine midfielder has been a constant presence in Arne Slot's lineup, with over 3,200 minutes across 46 appearances and 10 goal contributions. Mac Allister has been one of their most crucial assets, yet the club are still willing to entertain offers for him. Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain have reportedly been monitoring the World Cup winner. If Mac Allister departs, it would signal that the rebuild runs far deeper than clearing out deadwood. It would mean dismantling the foundations and starting from scratch. Liverpool are also anticipated to offload several fringe players, including Wataru Endo. Endo has been dependable when called upon, but the Japanese midfielder could move on this summer. In the twilight of his career, he will be eager for consistent playing time, which he is not receiving under Slot. A transfer seems unavoidable at this point. So, to summarize, Mohamed Salah confirmed gone. Andy Robertson confirmed gone. Ibrahima Konate contract at an impasse, could depart on a free. Joe Gomez being made available for sale. Federico Chiesa, surplus to requirements. Agents working on a return to Italy. Curtis Jones linked with Inter Milan. Cody Gakpo reportedly being shopped around at £40 million. And lurking in the background, the possibility that even Alexis Mac Allister could be sacrificed if the right offer materializes. That is not a summer refresh. That is a demolition job. The scale of this potential exodus raises the most pressing question of all. Who is steering the ship? According to Ornstein, speaking to NBC Sports, Liverpool's decision-makers believe Slot has earned enough goodwill to turn the club's fortunes around in 2026 to 27 and is set to remain in charge next season. But not everyone shares that assessment. Xabi Alonso is the leading candidate to succeed the 7-year-old, either this summer or partway through next season. The criticism of Slot's handling of the PSG tie was fierce and came from every direction. French football analyst Julien Laurens on BBC Radio 5 Live did not hold back. That lineup to start was complete nonsense. That second half should have been how Liverpool started this game. Laurens was particularly scathing about the decision to start Isak. He let the club down, the team down, and the fans down. Former Liverpool defender Stephen Warnock echoed the frustration. I think there was a real desire from the Liverpool team to try to get a result. They gave the crowd something to get off their seats, but I don't know where that has been this season. There was also the Dominic Szoboszlai incident from the FA Cup quarter-final defeat at Manchester City just days earlier. Social media footage showed Szoboszlai shrugging, raising his arms and applauding, widely interpreted as sarcasm toward the supporters after a heavy 4-0 FA Cup quarter-final defeat at Manchester City. The midfielder was ushered away by teammate Federico Chiesa amid a chorus of boos. The atmosphere around the club had soured. Despite spending an estimated £446 million last summer and shattering the British transfer record to sign Alexander Isak, it's fair to say that Liverpool's season has not gone according to plan. Rather than pushing toward a second consecutive Premier League title, they find themselves well off the pace and struggling to secure even a Champions League berth. FSG plan to bring in 3 to 4 first-team players to strengthen their squad this summer, but the challenge is enormous. They are facing the potential loss of 8 players from the current squad while simultaneously needing to fill glaring holes at center-back, left-back, winger, and midfield. The overhaul comes against a backdrop of growing concern at Fenway Sports Group over Arne Slot's position. His contract has 1 year remaining and talks over a new deal are on hold, with reports linking Xabi Alonso as a potential successor. FSG are also concerned over whether Chief Executive of Football, Michael Edwards, could be tempted by a move to Saudi Arabia. The tragedy of this Liverpool season extends beyond results. It goes beyond the 4-0 aggregate humiliation against PSG. This is the first season since 2015-16 without Trent Alexander-Arnold, the first since 2020-21 without Luis Diaz, and the first since 2019-20 without Diogo Jota, who passed away in a car accident on 3 July 2025. On 11 July 2025, the squad number 20 was retired across all levels in his memory. The emotional toll of losing a teammate, combined with the massive squad upheaval and the pressure of defending a title, all converged into the storm we have witnessed. What this result and performance truly revealed is that Liverpool are a long way behind a PSG side who look like strong contenders to be crowned European champions once again. The Reds were supposed to close the gap this summer, after identifying areas for improvement during an absorbing tie between these two sides in last year's competition. What they have done instead is made a series of changes to their squad that have not worked out, and discovered that their manager may not be all he was made out to be. The next few months will determine the trajectory of this football club for years to come. Lose 8 players, bring in replacements, perhaps change the manager, perhaps lose the sporting director too. Liverpool, the reigning English champions, are staring down one of the most consequential summers in their modern history. And the question every supporter will be asking as they file out of Anfield is a simple one. After spending £446 million, after being eliminated from every cup competition, after watching their greatest ever goal scorer walk away feeling unwanted, how did it come to this?